Going to try to design a voice-activated keyer or a VOX. Got a design drawn up here. I'm going to put on a breadboard and see if it's going to work. This uses a op-amp precision rectifier. Then we'll get rectified halfway, and then it'll be filtered. Then we'll have a comparator here with a threshold set, and the comparator will have some positive hysteresis here, so it'll swing very cleanly, kind of like a Schmidt trigger. And then I'm going to drive that into a 4538, which has been around for years. It's a one-shot timer. Then that will feed an open drain, which will be the key for keying the Echolink unit. So I'm going to breadboard this up and see if it'll work. I have also an on-off function here to turn the power to it on and off, and a precision reference using a TL431, which is set for 2.5 volts. So it'll be a 2.5 volt reference for the comparator and op amps. So we'll give it a try and see if this thing is going to work. Well, I have the circuit built up here on a breadboard, and it seems to be working okay. I'm going to just put in a sine wave for now, see if the red LED keys the Echolink. Green is audio present. Going to put in just a sine wave signal here and see what happens. Okay, right now I've got two potentiometers. That's probably all I'll have. One will set the timing of the 4538 here. On the drawing is this potentiometer right here. And then this one over here is the input level for the audio. I need to find a audio source, like maybe a podcast or something, to bring into this thing. Just some regular talking and see what happens. I was going to show how the precision rectifier works here with a steady tone in. You see we're at 0 volts, and to bring up the audio input, you see that it goes up and then stops at the rail. And this is what detects or what generates. This generates a peak signal for the audio. You smooth it out just before the comparator, and then the output of the comparator, which is set high, and it goes low, and that's what triggers the timer. And it's like a Schmidt trigger setup. So when it flips pretty good, and it's got some hysteresis too. So even though the signal trips at a certain level, when the signal goes down, it's got to go down several dB before it flips back up. That's kind of how the audio is processed through this thing. So here's the precision rectifier circuit. This is a little board because I'm using surface mount Schottky diodes here. So we got the op amp, the audio coming in, the op amp, the rectifier, and the dropping resistor to filter, and then the comparator, and then the one-shot timer. So it's pretty simple. Okay, I got some talk radio coming in for testing this thing. The green LED here is the voice modulation, and the red LED is the hold time. This potentiometer will adjust this hold time, so because every time this red LED blinks, that would be keying and unkeying the Echolink circuit. So I can increase the timing here. I think I can go up to, if I recall, about 3.5 seconds max. So there I brought it up just a little bit. So if I disconnect the audio, okay, right now there's no audio coming through the circuit.
could do that on your own. We don't necessarily work with clients that simply want
Okay, so
want
as this fella's talking,
mark it up and track the market down.
the
So unfortunately,
red LED
talk a lot about the limitations
stays pretty much keyed, and
allocated models.
if you wanted to hold time even longer,
It is phenomenal.
okay, so
It is phenomenal for the advisor.
I'm going to unplug the audio real quick and see how quick that red LED goes out.
When the markets are down, they're simply telling
So that's pretty close to where you want to be as far as the VOX setting is concerned.
It's not good enough for us, and it certainly shouldn't be good enough for you. And you know, we're not landing rockets back to Earth like Elon Musk. I mean, this is not rocket science. Just
looks like the circuit's going to work. I'll just unhook the audio from here, so the green LED stops and the red LED goes out. And I'll reapply audio.
Educate you on, because this is not a business that you live and breathe 24/7 like we do. So if you do not have a strategy,
so it's working pretty good. So if I decrease the timing on the output, the red LED is going to flash quite a bit.
Because the required minimum investment was outside of what most people could or had to invest.
So you want to definitely increase the timing, just so it bridges the pauses in the audio.
I mentioned earlier in the first segment, we priced 2 notes last week. Those notes were, well, the higher one with 30% protection.
But you don't want it to hold too long.
Delivered, well, the note priced at about 11.5% a year. So a way to look at that is 11.5%, as long as the
so I need a little bit more.
That note is tracking are not down 30%.
And maybe a little bit
that's something you want. We need to have
more audio too coming in.
People think negatively or positively based upon
okay.
the investment. So stocks, you know, people are going to think, wow, those are great, or wow, they're bad, or ETFs, wow, those are great. Wow, those
so that's pretty good right there.
Those are great, or those are bad. What something is called is really irrelevant to us. When we look at financial planning, and when we look at, you know, putting a
so his voice rate's about right for talking on the ham radio.
Many of you know that we've been very negative on bonds.
I'll stop it again here. Yeah, so that's set pretty close. So it looks like the ranges of the potentiometer here are set pretty good. So have to do up a printed circuit board for this next. Okay, the VOX circuit needs to fit in this small little area of the Echolink controller. I gotta make sure when I did lay out this controller that none of the switches or options or potentiometers were underneath here. It was a tight design, but we do have it here all laid out very, very tight. It's a small, very small circuit, but I got it all to fit on here. We're going to send out for boards on this and see if the thing's going to work out okay. It is going to be very tight, not the easiest to mount parts, especially these are very small diodes here. I'm trying to remember what they were. They are a SOD 323, which is very, very small. They are not easy to mount by hand, but done it before, so hopefully we can do it again. Okay, I got the boards in. They are very, very small. So, going to be fun to build some of these. We'll give it a shot. Well, about 4 hours later, I've got 2 protos built, and they are quite small. But I was able to get all the parts mounted on there. And looked under the stereoscope and did not find any solder shorts or anything, so we should be good to go. And these are to mount right here on the Echolink controller board. Like that. And there's a standoff there for for a screw to go in. So it looks like all the measurements came out okay. Everything's lined up. So there it is. So we'll fire up the board and see if it works with the talk radio. First thing I got to do is access this board here. So I got some codes here. There, it accessed. We got the green light there. So now I'm gonna disconnect the keypad and bring it back to audio in here. Okay, we got everything accessed here. So right now you can see the LEDs. The red LED is the key. It keys Echolink. The orange is audio and the green is power. So I had to touch tone on the board, the power coming into the board, which is controlled by the microcontroller. And the power at the microcontroller sends a ground in to this point here and turns on this transistor, and then this transistor, pass transistor, allows 5 volts to go through. So this is active now. Active low. So everything's working now. So now it's going to adjust it. We got talk radio coming through for testing. So it looks like the audio is okay. So we'll do a little adjusting here. So that LED just starts to blink. And then the timing is over here. So we want that red LED. Now this guy pauses a lot in between his talk, so you can see that the LED is shutting off on his pauses. So depending on how long you want that to hold, you just bring this timing up. And maybe we could give it a little more audio input. Okay, and this LED here means Echolink is keyed, which really follows this red LED. So that's about right. I don't think most people pause like this guy does. It's talking at the moment, but that can all be adjusted. So I can I'll remove audio here. So see, it comes up right away. And it holds. So if you remove talking, it removes pretty quickly. But there's a lot more level here, or timing here. I mean, if you bring this all the way up, I'll undo the audio and it'll hold for quite a while. See, I think it's around 3 seconds or so. It might be a little shorter than that. 2.5, I'd say. About 2.5 seconds maximum between voice peaks. So it does seem to have the right range. So I'll just bring this timing back just a little bit. And I think we got a good thing here going. So if ever need VOX on the board, because I'll be able to use these VOX boards for other things too. So in any event, it looks like it's a go.